call this meeting to order. We all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Twyla, the roll call.
Councillor Bickford?
Here.
Councillor Lunt?
Here.
Councillor Bowie?
Here.
Councillor Mason?
She is excused.
Councillor Cody?
Here.
Councillor Pomelo?
Here.
Councillor La Rochelle?
And he is also excused.
Thank you.
Okay, Twyla, would you go on to the first item?
Is under consent agenda. Order 2011-1 to approve the minutes of December 7, 2010.
Do I hear a motion on that?
I'll make a motion that we accept the meeting minutes from December 7th, 2010.
I'll second that motion.
All right, any comment?
I'll let you know what Twyla's gonna do with all her spare time. This is the last meeting for all the minutes, isn't it?
I have plenty on my agenda. I still haven't done the bookbinding and ordering and, oh yeah, I have tons I need to do. But thank you very much.
Any further comments or anything about the minutes? Okay, seeing no further comments, we'll take a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Order passed, 5-0.
All right, next item.
Is under council orders, resolutions, and ordinances. Order 2011. Item 2, 2009 property foreclosures.
This is a list of properties that we get every year. You need to take a vote to waive the foreclosure notices so we can work with the owners to collect. It doesn't make the foreclosures null and void. It just means we're not going to enforce it. We just will work with them to try to collect, and we usually are very successful at that.
Any comments from council on this issue?
I make a motion that we approve property foreclosures.
I'll second that.
All right, any further comments? Anything from the public? Okay, Dot?
Not including the property in Lisbon, how many foreclosures are you dealing with?
I'm 16.
16.
Wow. How's that due to unpaid taxes?
16 properties.
16?
16.
Is that due to unpaid taxes?
Yes, it is.
And I'm assuming that you people are working with the homeowners?
Yes, we do this every year.
Okay,
And
thank
we
you.
should probably specify that this is mobile homes.
This is just mobile homes.
Oh, just mobile
Right.
homes?
Yes.
Thank you.
And those are often a liability. There's often, you don't always want to foreclose on them if you can avoid it in any way.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Any further comments from the public or from the council? All right, do I have a motion on that? Oh, I did, okay, all right, sorry. Okay, all in favor of the motion to pass that? All opposed? Okay,
Order passed, 5-0.
next item?
Order 2011-3, the old gazebo at the superintendent's office.
We have had a request, Rick Green, superintendent, and I'm working with looking at that old gazebo. It's falling apart. We've had Buttons and his crew over to look at it, plus Carol and Gordon Curtis, I guess, were the original group that moved that building over there. The upper part is not safe. We just want approval to tear it down and get rid of what's there. And I've checked with the school department. I don't think they have any qualms. Rick has been asking about that for a while.
So it's a safety hazard.
It's a safety hazard, yeah. It really needs to come down.
Do we have any further comments on that from the council?
We're gonna just tear it down ourselves. Public Works is gonna dispose of it.
Yeah. Somebody has requested, I guess the flooring is good and there's some steel beams underneath. We're going to keep the steel beams, but somebody's asked if they could have the flooring. So I think it's Gordon, actually, and Carol. So
Any comments from the public? Okay, Dot?
My comment is, could
Dot, could you please use the microphone?
everyone please speak up so that the public can hear when it's televised? And we can't even hear a lot of what you're saying in the audience. Thank you. Please speak up.
I'll make a motion to approve the tearing down of the old gazebo at the superintendent's office.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Order passed, 5-0.
Next item, Twyla?
Is under other business. A, scheduled department tours.
This was part of the orientation process. We've had some conflicts with this coming weekend, and also it seems I've got some conflicts I heard from department heads today for the following weekend. It's a long weekend, I guess, so some people have made plans. Is January 22nd a good Saturday morning to do these? Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
No problem with me, yeah.
Okay, then we'll schedule it for the 22nd at 8 a.m. here then. Should be ready.
All right, next item?
Is under B, 2011-12 budget survey.
This is something that Mr. Bickford had requested, came in and asked if we could put something together to kind of get an idea from the public, what service levels and things they would be looking at for the upcoming budget season. So I told him I'd put it on the agenda, and we formatted something for him. And it's up to you guys if you want to do something like this or not.
Well, it was my idea, and I don't mind doing it.
No, I'm sure you don't.
I think it's a good idea to get a
Yes.
board. We need all the help we can get
How are we
because
gonna disseminate it?
Okay.
Roger wanted to do it door by door. Is that something?
I was planning on just going.
Oh, you're gonna just take it door to door?
Yeah, but you could, if somebody wanted to go to the transfer station
Yeah.
or whatever, that'd be fine.
I'm wondering if it's something we wanna put on the internet and try to get feedback that way as well.
Well, we've done that before, and we got very little response. We got, I think, 20 people responded. We can certainly try it again, and
Along with it or whatever.
Yeah.
if we want, what we'll do is we'll make up enough copies for all of you, and you can do as you please, and we'll do one on the website as well.
And I might suggest we put some right in the front of the town office too, just
Yep.
put it out there on a table with a sign. So anyone that comes in would see that.
Okay? We'll do that.
One suggestion I might make is just to add like a comments line here, just at the bottom of this, just to, if they have any further comments or suggestions they want to add, that they'd be able to, put that on the bottom there.
Okay? We'll try it again this year.
Okay.
All right?
Next item?
Is under C, town manager's report.
It's been a pretty quiet several weeks with all the holidays. Public Works has done a good job cleaning up the snow, and the sidewalk blower had some transmission problems under warranty, so it should be back by the end of this week. We've been working with this Rumble Mill and the realtor, Mr. Span, and hopefully we've got several different people besides Mr. Hempel, who was here at the meeting. He's still interested, and we've had a developer out of New Hampshire who has done mill renovation work before, and he's been very active with Mr. Span. And today I heard from somebody else from Lewiston who was interested, so hopefully we'll get one out of the three to do something. Last week, we had a meeting with a member of the Department of Transportation and talking about the 196 study. They've put together their draft and final final recommendations, but a draft of what they had, and they had asked if we would have a workshop and have the council weigh in on what their recommendations would be for Lisbon. The same thing, they're going to do the same thing in Lewiston and in Topsom. So if we can, I'll put it on with the 18th when we have our workshop, and you as a council can discuss your thoughts and what you would like to recommend from what you heard at the public hearing, and we'll forward that on to the MDOT. Bill Van Tynen was in the building today, and he was getting the tax information ready to put up to the Tax Revenue Department, and that has to be there by the 12th, and I think he finished it this afternoon and should be on its way, but everything else is pretty quiet.
What are we gonna do long-term for an assessor?
Right now, Kathy Malloy, we've brought her on full-time, and we have enough money in the budget to keep Bill and his organization here until the end of June. And that will be another thing we will discuss at our workshop on the 18th. Bill has put together a proposal for us for a long-term relationship as well as 2 different options on the reval. So I'll get that out to you, and you'll have a chance to digest that and take a look and talk about it on the 18th.
Any questions or comments from the council? Any questions or comments from the public? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Fellows.
Just a brief comment and a question. When you're talking about the budget survey, and whether it's door to door or at the transfer station or on the website, several months ago we talked about, or you talked about. Let me back up. I talked about Durham, who had done a monthly kind of a circular to the entire town, and I think that we were going to do some looking at it to see what its costs were, to see if it was even possible to do, because that method of getting information, if it's not cost prohibitive, it might be a great way to get every household.
As I think I had said before, we have changed the format of the quarterly letter that was on the website. We now have it's called the manager's report, and it includes all the department heads. We're finishing up that. Hopefully we'll have that to you before the end of the month, and we're looking at doing that monthly. And I have not looked into the price of mailing it to every household. We do have a bulk mailing rate, but it still gets expensive. But we'll see how this new report goes, and we've had a lot of good comments on the quarterly one that we were doing, and we're just changing the format a little bit to get more information out.
Is it possible to use the telephone in the way that the school does for getting out messages? I know when my kids were in high school, Mr. Green would come on when he had a message and have a taped message, and it would ring the home phone. You answer it, or your machine would pick it up, and it would have a message to what was going on as far as at the school, if there was no school because of a storm day, or why couldn't we do something like that to remind people when there is something going on in the town? I don't think that can be that expensive to do.
I'm not sure how we'd structure it, but we have the website. We have a calendar on the website that lists events and things that are going on, and you can go to each department, and there are some of the departments list things that they're doing, but I can certainly explore more and come up with something.
Well,
I'm not sure it's telephone-wise.
You know, it just rings everybody that's registered with the town or with the school, and the message comes through, you can hear the message, and then there's no disputing that you weren't notified, because it rings your home
I
phone.
understand what you're talking about. I think that they refer to it as like reverse calling. I think we used to be able to do it in the police department. I don't know if it was tied to the E911 or not, but you could send out a message letting people know that there was an accident or that there was somebody on the loose or something like that. There is some capability. I don't know what.
Monica has a list of all the parents on her email list, and it goes, when she has something going on, it goes out to this huge group. We don't have access to that information, and we've asked to do that, but it's because it has to do with students and parents. It's somewhat confidential, I think. But we have been building a database with a lot of email addresses and of businesses and people who, and we request if people want to be on the mailing list, we put them on that and we send them out the quarterly letter and anything else that we're doing.
Well, the thing of it is, Steve, is what I'm looking at is that we sit here, week after week and get beat up by people that didn't know that the meeting was going to be happening, or for whatever reason. If there was something that was posted on the board out by the road and they don't go by the town office, they didn't see it. If we could get something like that, if it wasn't real expensive to the town, that we could get this information out, then they wouldn't be coming here beating us up, telling us that we didn't get the information to them.
I'll try to see if we can find something like
You know,
what
I know
you're
Rick
asking.
Green does it there all the time, and I'm sure that he could give us some insight on how this is being done.
Yeah, I think it would have to be an opt-in system. You can't just really go around robocalling everyone in town, but I think you could
No, but
have
there's
people opt into
They
it.
do it somehow. I don't know
Right, but
how
I think they have an opt-in system for students' parents, you know.
Right.
And we could probably do something similar.
Well, there's a lot of people in areas that don't get around the town office. If they want to be notified when there is something, this call could be sent out to them, and then they would be notified, and they wouldn't have anything to complain that they weren't notified.
I think it's certainly worth looking into if it's feasible.
I'll look into it.
All right, next item, Twyla?
Is audience participation. At this time, those in the audience who wish to address the council may come forward, use the microphone at the podium, state your name for the audience at home and here.
Okay, anyone in the audience want to say anything? All right, Dot?
My name is Dorothy Fitzgerald. I'm a resident of the Lisbon Falls, Maine, School Street. I just want to remark on yesterday's voting. The citizens' initiative for the recall of a town councilor failed, and that was the people's decision, and that's fine. But I would like to personally thank the other ladies. I've been taking all of the credit and probably the blame or criticism as well. But there were 4 other ladies that worked with me to get signatures. We got over 400 signatures. I could not have done it alone. Sandy Kent, Marianne Morgan, Sue Carrier, and Deb Barry. Also, Michelle Trammell was helpful in making sure that everything was done legally, because the first 1 or 2 petitions did not have the required disclaimer at the bottom about for the signing, notarizing the petition. So I just would like to thank everyone.
Thank you, Dot.
Bye.
All right, Mr. Fellows?
What a great night when you only have 2 people out here. Anyway. Just another point on communications. I mentioned that before. One of the other subjects, we have this board out here, but I think overall, though I don't have any costs, it might be inexpensive, relatively speaking, to duplicate and mirror this board either in front of the water department or at the MTM center, so that it displays in 3 places all over town the same way. Electronically, it can't be a big deal, but at the cost of the board might be something.
Mark and I, Stevens, have talked about putting something in front of the MTM Center just to give that center more recognition for what goes on there, and easier for Mark to display all the many things that go on in that building.
Well, I know every time I go by here, I see a lot of things that whoever goes by sees things they wouldn't see otherwise. But the other end of town, Lisbon Falls, doesn't see it. So
Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish there was an electronic version like we have out here on the right on 196 there across from the mill would be a great spot, because
across from the mill or the water department, either one.
Right through there, all the commuters.
You know, just to follow up on what you just spoke of, the only time I go by the town office is when I go to the meeting. Most of the time I'm traveling Brunswick.
Right, a lot of people.
And I don't come up this end of town at all, so I'd never see that board whatsoever.
Right, or if you commute to Lewiston, the same way.
Right.
So, any further comments from the public? All right, next item, Twyla.
Is council communications?
Okay, anyone on the council have anything you want to say tonight?
All
All
of my
right.
things were
Okay.
spoke to.
What?
I had a couple of questions I was going to ask about the status of the reval and then the update on the newsletter thing. Although I will offer that I can contact folks in Durham, and I have another community that I know does the newsletters, and so I'll just, see what format they use and what expenses involved with them doing it, who's responsible for it. So I'll report back to you guys on that.
Thank you, Laurie. We'd appreciate that. Anything else?
Is there any, there's a couple things that are gonna be put on the next agenda. Is that gonna be handled in a workshop setting, or is that gonna be handled as a regular meeting?
We hadn't really talked about it. Do you think it would be better to handle that in a workshop setting later, or is your thought, Roger?
Oh, that's,
What are the items that you're specifically referencing?
well, there was a lot of discussion over the recall, how that this has got to be changed and redone and reworked to work more efficiently, or maybe just leave it alone. But it was discussed that we ought to be looking at it. And I also want to bring back the putting the municipal budget out to the vote to the people. And I'm going to keep pounding that until there's nothing left to me. And Mark has allowed me to put it on the agenda item for next week. And I just would like to have an opportunity for discussion, and people can voice their opinion. And if we do it in a workshop, are we going to eliminate the public, or are we going to do it in a meeting and let everybody participate?
I mean, my thought would be we just do it as a regular agenda item on a meeting and let the public participate. And then if we feel there's a need for a workshop, we can always schedule that. If there's, we need to talk to the lawyer more extensively or something.
Mhm.
That's my thought.
That's it.
All right, thank you. Next item, Twyla.
Is under executive session. Order 2011-5 to go into executive session per 1 MRSA, Section 405, 6A, Personnel Matters. And also E,
No,
consultation.
we're not going to do that one.
Just, okay, Personnel Matters.
Just personnel matters.
Okay.
Make a motion to go in executive session.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? All right, all
Opposed?
those opposed?
Order passed 5-0.